Welcome to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. In this episode, we'll be listening to IndieCommerce 2.0 in action, best practices from booksellers, a session that was presented at Winter Institute 2026 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So let's get to this. If you're not in here for IndieCommerce 2.0 action, then you're in the wrong place. So onwards. Slides and handouts will be available. There is a survey as well. I think we have all that information, actually, if you go to bookweb.org. Antitrust guidelines, let's just jump right in here. Booksellers are encouraged to share ideas and support during conference, but the Sherman Antitrust Act prohibits them from discussing price or pricing policies, boycotts, dividing up the market. And for more information, see ABA's full antitrust guidelines on BookWeb. And so by the end of the session, you will be able to learn about time-saving 2.0 features that enhance the online customer experience, understand how peer bookstores use 2.0 tools to streamline operations. And we have, for demo sessions, we're going to be showing a landing page, book variations with preferences, e-commerce and order processing, and then some upcoming 2.0 features as well. And our panelists are me, I'm Philip Davies, I'm the director of IndieCommerce, John Cavalier from Cavalier House, Brandon Lopez from Children's Book World, and then Lynn Phillips from Wordsworth Books. And let's get started. So demo, landing page.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
Come on. We're going to be doing musical chairs too.
All right, so let me get into this. I've got this pulled up. I've just got my live site pulled up so that we can show a little bit of everything here. So my favorite new feature with 2.0 has definitely been landing pages by far, in that they also kind of mimic the homepage. It's been fantastic to display content and actually be able to focus on generating new content, generating new events. I know 1.0 in the past, it was always a little more difficult to train people on how to display the content once you actually made the content. This, I find, is the workflow is 1,000 times faster, and it's more collaborative in the sense that we can have someone making images to contribute to it, someone writing copy to contribute to it, and then also our buyer making book lists so that everything comes together in a nice cohesive little package for us. So the homepage, which I'm sure you've all been through, it's broken up into several different little feature sections with the little sliders, the icon blocks, the calls to action, events that you could also put on here, as well as carousels and a few other little doodads that are on here. We like ours set up. My thinking behind everything is I like to have our call to actions near the top so that way we're constantly refreshing things, and our sliders are constantly refreshing whatever we want to put in front of people's eyes. Here we go. So configuring of the homepage, real quick, just to get into that, configure in homepage. The flexibility of this has been really kind of paramount in my eyes, and we've got parts of it that we don't even use over here on the, or we don't even use yet, I'll say, just because we haven't had time to do it. So over here on the right-hand side, with the ability to enable and disable different blocks of content that are showing up on the homepage has been absolutely great to really customize it, make sure that we're featuring what we want to feature. And it's also been, it's going from 1.0 to 2.0. The thing that I've found very helpful is developing workflows for each of these things and a vocabulary around it with my staff where we can add another feature. So like, for example, whenever we do add image rows, in my mind, I'm going to kind of develop a new workflow around that. So that way it's like, what are we featuring there? How are we changing it out? And how are we making it look fresh? And then the other thing that I love about the homepage is just the absolute ease with which to edit and add to it. So to go into slider content, just to open up one of these, just so you know what it looks like if you haven't seen it before. Very simple to just add a content image on here, add all of the links that you want it to go to, save it, and move on. The other thing that's great is it's super easy for whenever you're done with something to just delete it, hit the little trash can button, make it go away, and then add another thing and keep moving on. Again, the really great thing is the workflow aspect of this, where me and my staff have been able to develop a vocabulary around this, where when someone sees something that's amiss on the homepage or needs to be updated, we can send each other a message on our Discord server and say, hey, the call to action needs to be updated. Hey, the slider needs to be updated, or this carousel, or what have you. Getting into this, I'll actually go ahead and skip to, a lot of this is kind of, it's very form fitting, so in the sense that when you go down each of these, the great aspect of it is when you're adding something, you either add a new call to action or add an existing call to action. And it takes you through the process, going through the form, uploading the image, etc. But having the ability to add the existing things has been especially beneficial for us on the, product lists. For example, these are the ones that we've got up on our homepage now, but using these with landing pages as well, it's very beneficial. One of the ones that we go back and forth with Louisiana Young Readers Choice when we're doing school book fairs. Depending on the age range of the book fair, we'll use the same carousels over and over again. And it's extremely beneficial to just have them here where you can click add an existing product list. And when you click through on that and select your different product lists, you've got everything comes up and you can go through just to select whichever one you want and search through it, select it, it goes into place. You're not having to recreate a book list. You're not having to recreate a view like you were doing in 1.0, which I'm very appreciative of.
Yeah. Everything's really modular, so you can create something and then use it in multiple places. So it's really nice.
Yeah, very nice. And then to get into this, the landing page idea as well. Landing pages sort of mimic the homepage in their sort of layout. And they're as easy as going to create landing page. And then you're in business with trying to do a lot of the same things that you're doing on the homepage with featuring different calls to action, different product carousels, whatever content you want to share, different event carousels, that sort of thing. And to kind of open up, these are some that I have already pre-made. And this is actually a point that I wanted to echo from Phil's presentation yesterday. This is going to be a huge part of our strategy going forward is these landing pages, just trying to create as many niche landing pages as we possibly can for as many different partners as we possibly can. So like this one, for example, is one that we created for Amanda Jones, her book, That Librarian, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. She's local to us. She lives 10 minutes down the street from our bookstore. And so we've created a great landing page for her that features just a lot of things that she wants to share with the world, but also calls to action where you can get personalized copies or pick up her book at a particular event that we're going to be working in a couple of weeks. And so this is something that is absolutely fantastic in the sense that I'm not promoting this page as much as she's promoting this page. She's going to conferences around the country and around the world, sharing this with people, sharing this with her social media, sharing this with her newsletter subscribers, et cetera. And it's been absolutely fantastic, especially with, the number of folks that just want a personalized copy, but then also just click on, a Beverly Cleary book that, they knew inspired Amanda as well. A couple of others, we use it for school book fairs. A big thing, this is a big moneymaker for us, book fair gift certificates, having these available. I love putting them in the carousel form because I like the idea that you don't have to spend $100. You can spend $5, or if you're more affluent, you can spend more than $5. You can spend $100. And so I like that just emphasizes that point. And then it's also customizable to the school in the sense that we'll make carousels with the different featured authors that are going to be there, or whatever different events. For this school in particular, we had a faculty book club. And then the last one that I'll show you, this is a really simple one that we did with the Louisiana Teenage Librarians Association, which is going on next week. And basically, they just wanted something for the featured author. They're taking orders around the state. We're packaging them up and sending them to the conference, basically. And this has been a dynamite way of trying to generate a lot of just really organic, direct traffic from people. And so my strategy going forward is going to be to utilize as many of these landing pages as possible with as many different partners as possible, so that way they're doing the legwork of promoting these sorts of pages for us, because it's so specific and it's so direct, and we're able to capture everything that comes from it.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sure. And for those of you who might be concerned also about, well, are we going to have all this stuff to navigate through? You can make landing pages for your landing pages. So you can have one that is just dedicated to signed books from specific authors. We're the same way. We have T.Z. Layton, who does the Academy book series, and Catherine Applegate, and we get them constantly. So having a place where they can just go to that page, and then all of the authors, so we can do that for all your local authors. It's just already there, linking to all those pages. It's fantastic. We use ours for school visits. And I know many of you do school visits. My goal is to never actually have to go to the school whatsoever. So, and I've gotten to my goal, by the way. I want to make clear through the system that I've actually used, not necessarily for author tour of a big person where you've got to be there. We'll have a rep go to that. But I'm talking about your local authors where they want to sell books, they want to go do a school visit, and you don't have the staffing or the infrastructure to be able to do all of those events. And so that's what this is really about. And I think, can I make this a little bit larger? Is there
Yeah. Slideshow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry about that.
There you go. Perfect, thank you. So if you look at this, how many people are doing the book variations in 2.0 so far? Yeah. This is the greatest tool ever, but what's more important are the preferences. So how many people are using the preferences of the variations? Because that's a newer thing. And this is where you're able to basically do everything so that the parents, when they're ordering the book, do everything. All the information is coming in one place when they actually order the book, and you do not have to go and seek anything out. It's all being paid by credit card through the system. There's no checks, there's no cash, nothing, just the credit card system. They order the book, and then we process the order. What we then do is, because of the information I'm going to show you that we take, we actually put on the bag, it's bagged with the post-it of the book inside the bag, the teacher name, the parent name, the student name, the teacher name, the classroom name, the room number. It's all done. The authors then come and pick up the box of books for the school. They take them home, they sign them. They take them to the school distributes them to the individual classrooms on their own when they do it after the event, so that all the students have the exact same experience in the school visit. There's not a thing where people are just signing because they had the money or the access to be able to purchase a book. So all kids have that same experience, and you don't have to go. You don't have to be there. You don't have to do anything. It's already taken care of. So it's a huge time saver. So when you go into variation type, there is signed books. The variation label, what I love more than anything else is that when you actually type something in here, it stays in there. And so I have a lot of different, I could do school visit. There are a lot of other school visits that I have with different information after featured title. There is also just signed book. So all of those things that you typed in there before will stay in there so that you can choose between the options of what you actually want to put in there. You don't have to have a master list and remember what you put in the past. That is really, really, I can't even tell you how helpful that actually is. I do feature title because when you put a lot of different titles on, they're going to pick the last book that you're only ordering 10 copies of, and you want them to order the copy of the book that is actually the featured title for the school visit. So putting the featured title on that title also makes them know this is the title that you should be purchasing first. And then you can add in all the extra titles. And then you go down and choose the ISBN just like you normally would. And then let's go to the next page. This is where you start to get the preferences part. So there is a space in between there. I don't really use it. I don't type any more information in about the book. I just want the book's information to come up with the ISBN. So you skip down to where it actually allows you to do in the first preference. And the first preference I do is signing options. And I choose checkboxes. And once you choose checkboxes, it allows you to have these different options. So in Gmail, I have drafts of things that I've already written out, and this is how I would actually have it for school visits. For school visits, I found you cannot just say personalized, signature only, no signature. Kathy, I know you're laughing because like people don't understand. Personalization means that they're asking the author to, you are my favorite child of all of my children, and please enjoy this book, right? So you need to be very specific. Personalization, name of person to whom it is signed. Author signature only means there is no personalization, and no signature, and it's an unsigned copy. So I think it's better for you. Describe it exactly what it actually is. And we require that information. This is important. If you don't check the required box, people may skip it and not actually fill it out. So required is important. Then I do the next preference box. And for that is for personalization. If you've chosen that, who would you like it personalized to? And then the second thing I put in there is the description, name for personalization. Both of those things come up. That is not required because if they don't want personalization, then they don't need to fill that part out. And then the next section we go to is please select the school. So we will frequently have one author going to 3 to 4 different schools. We will actually then do checkboxes again, and we will list the different schools that they're actually going to, so they can just click their school. So you're not making multiple pages for multiple schools to have to build. And that is also required. The school is required. And then the next preference box that I will do is please provide school, student, teacher, and classroom names for personalization. I just do it like this so that they can fill in those information in one blank. I don't want to have a lot of checkboxes for that. It just builds too much on the page. But school is sometimes just in case they checked the wrong school. It's a second thing to be able to see the school. The student name is important because the student name and the parent name is frequently not the same. So it's good to have the student name. And then the teacher in the classroom is also very important because if for some reason they didn't give you a student name because it's no signature or signature only, the teacher will figure it out based off of the parent's name. So that's how I look at it for that. And that's just a normal text field. Then you have the price. I'm sure there are many other preferences. You could just keep doing things inside, and you could use this tool for a lot of other things. But all of this information stays in the system, even the order that I actually did it. So now whenever I go in to be able to make a school visit book, it's already there. It takes me seconds to actually make a new one and go on. And that used to take a long time to be able to do each one. And because if you're doing someone like a Stuart Gibbs, you've got 30 books that you're entering in. And then once they're built, Then you're just adding in that specific variation. We use codes at the end of the ISBN. So we use S for signed, SV for school visit, D for donated. We almost always put a donated option to donate a copy on every single school visit that we do. And we get a lot of books for donation that way because people buy a book for themselves and then buy a book for donation. So I always suggest that. It increases your sales and also does good for your community. And then you put in the price. And the end result here is our Gordon Corman page. This is where you're just basically saying, I keep it very generic because obviously it's not one specific school. Gordon Corman's visiting your school to talk about his newest book, Thursday, February 5th. Order signature only copies of the featured title. And then all the orders, there's a deadline. So if the event is on one day, I want it at least 3 days before so that we can do all the processing. That doesn't mean that late orders are not going to be fulfilled. It just means in their head, they know they need to get that order in by that specific time so that you're not having to chase all of these things. And you also have to tell the school to share that information as soon as they have it. Because that there's a deadline, because if they do not order it, it's not on us that we don't have enough books because they didn't do it in advance. We judge it based off of how many orders that we have come through. Most of the time we can still fulfill orders, but they're not going to get the signed book at the time of the event. They're going to get it later on because we'll have the author come back and sign. Other information that's in there is we created an option called coordinated school pickup. So we put in, please choose coordinated school pickup as the shipping option, as all book orders will be distributed at the school. No shipping is required. They do not have to pay for shipping. They can put in their kids' information in the shipping area if they want to, the school, teacher, whatever they want to be able to do. It doesn't really matter. But no shipping is required. And that's it. It just goes through. There's no cost for charge for the shipping. And then we coordinate to have a parent, a teacher, principal come pick up the books from us and then have them with the author at the school, and you never have to go to the school. So, which is a big thing. That's a big time-consuming thing, unless you want to be there. Frequently, the person who the publisher hires to actually take the author around, we found our people are really, really, really helpful and will help with all of that as well. And then basically that's it. And then you have the list at the bottom, which in the landing pages, it is like this, where you actually have the carousel. In event pages, it's not carousel. It goes down like this. And one of the things that we asked about is, can we please have carousels and lists available on all the different types of pages so that we have the option of choosing which type that we actually want. And I know that's something, because I wanted to say something about these guys. They listen. Not everything can happen immediately, but they're always listening. They're always figuring it out. And then when you do a big load up every couple months, a lot of those things are actually in that new package where we've talked about. So bringing this information of the things that you want to us, acting if you can have access on the committee. If someone's leaving the committees are really important. We all communicate via email all the time. Mm-hmm. We have committee people here who are here, Zach and Muir, and we're always communicating with each other to build a better place. There are 2.0 groups that meet regularly where you can also talk about these things. And that's where we sort of basically have all these new ideas. And
we're also, every time you submit a ticket to us as well, if it's a question about a new product or feature, it does get added to a spreadsheet that we have. And in fact, we're trying to figure out now how to show you what we're working on at the time. I'll show you a slide of that in here as well. Is that Geeth has been working on this for a while, but it's a presentation of where we are. It doesn't go back extremely far. It's the stuff we're now working on that you can take a look. And I think a lot of people have been asking for that. So we're going to try and put something like that together.
Some really exciting things too. Yeah. So this is the final page of what you see in terms of what it looks like for the book itself. And it's really clean. It's really straightforward. There's a ton of really great information on there. And there's not the mistakes that you would have. And it's not so manual that you have to be doing all of this extra work. I find it to be very, very helpful. And then I was just, how do I go back out to escape? The river. No, to get back in, I just want to show the page real quick. One quick thing, and then go hand it over to Lynn, which is the my page, because it's set up a little bit different than. Oops, did that not go? Let me see. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, so we like John. We use our events. We definitely want that up at the very, very top. Any of our events that we have coming up, and but we like to have our all of our events also right at the very, very top. So we have those in the bigger landing pages, but in here, and we try to keep it, we love those images, and we try to keep it very, very uniform across the board. And you can have, I think, up to like quite a bit. I mean, you can go, there's quite a few that you can have in there. I think sometimes we get close to 15 or 16.
Wow.
And going out for months, and they're all there for people just to be able to scroll through. And then if it's something important, we can, the ability to be able to move things around is really, really great. So that's all. I can answer any questions. And if you have questions, childrensbookworld.com.net is Haverford. We're .com. Childrensbookworld.com. I will get every email that comes through. So that's the easiest way to just send me an email. So.
Okay. Musical chair. Okay, so here we go. So you've seen all the great things that allow customers to find your stuff and place orders. Now you get to see what happens on the back end when you're looking at those orders. What I really love now is all the different ways that you can slice and dice and find your orders. So when you go in, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Too close. When you go into your site and you go to commerce and you go down to manage orders, and that's going to bring up all the orders that you have in your system. If you're a store that gets a lot of online orders, there's a lot to go through. So you can, if you're, say, doing a pre-order campaign and you know perhaps that there's a particular book that you want to take care of right away, you can go and you can filter by, let me go back up here, where did it go? Orders by SKU. And you can put in a specific SKU here, and all the orders that have that particular book title on it will show below. The other really cool thing, the other things that you can filter by, it's everything. You can filter by customer name. So if you know there's a particular customer who's placed an order, they've called first thing in the morning, they placed the order last night and they want to know if their book's ready. You can put their name in there and find their order that way. You can, so that's order by name. Some people, if you get a lot of online orders, you can do the pick list. So all the things that came in that you need to go around the store and pull. One of the things that is new in 2.0 that is invaluable, and I think everyone will agree with that, are the order tags. You can, you can tag an order with as many tags as you want for as many different reasons as you want. So you can create these tags. We create them for author events. We create them for school visits. We create them for pre-orders. I mean, really, the options are pretty endless for however you need to, again, slice and dice your orders. And once you, when you go to look at that order, one of the things I wanted to mention was everything that Brent's talking about, all those variation, the fields that you're collecting for those school visits, everything's going to show up on that order. So this is an example of just a regular order. But if it had variations on it, all that information is going to show with the title. So that school name, that student name. So when you print out this online order form, that can go with the book and it has all the information on it that you need, or you can put it on the outside of the bag, however you want to do it. So everything that gets captured in that order is going to be on that order form. If the book came from a product list, if it came from a wish list, if it came from what did I write down here? If it came from an event, so if you've created an event and you have books on that event list, that's all going to show with that title. So you're not wondering, what is this order? Where does it go? It's all on the order form. As you're processing the order, you can add the order tag. Right here, you can see this one has author event on it. I can add another tag if I want to by typing, I think I have signed copy here. You can just click signed here and save it, and that adds that tag. So it's so invaluable. We found it to be incredible. The other thing and we use it for school orders also. So when you're processing your orders, you can just apply these tags as you're going one by one through the orders. Or like us, if you're doing a pre-order campaign and you want to tag all the orders, you don't have to go through one by one. So the cool thing is you can go back to your order list, and if you want to search by SKU, you can do that. But then you have these checkboxes over here. And so let's say once you've searched by SKU and every one of these is that book, you can hit that checkbox. It's going to select all of the books. Then you can come down here and select your action. And the things that you can do here, you can process the order. So if you are like when people pick up their online orders, we have a stack of those. We have a bookseller who picks those up, and she'll go through and mass complete those orders so that they're not in processing status anymore. You can print all of your PDFs all at once if you want to, all the receipts. So if you're doing like a pre-order campaign or it's your school orders and you've tagged those, you can just go through here. You don't have to go through one by one and print them out. You can just print them all at once. It's so easy. It's so easy. The other thing that you can do is you can update those order tags. So you can apply that order tag. If it's a pre-order, if it's a school event, you can add that tag to all of them at the same time. So you just select that update order tag, and then it's got all the orders that you've selected. And here you can add the tag. So if you're adding the pre-order tag, you just start typing, it comes up, you hit apply. And then that's going to go ahead and update the order tag on all of those orders for you. So it's so time saving. You don't have to go through every single order to do all these little things that if you don't want to, because you can filter and sort by these types of orders, whether it's SKU, customer name, event, that type of thing, and add your tags, process your orders. And again, all that information that Bren talked about will appear on that order form. And then the last thing I wanted to mention really quickly is if you use Pirate Ship, and especially if you're doing a pre-order campaign, I mean, we just did one where we had, I think, 150 books that we were sending out for a local author. We were able to go in, search by that SKU, and then export all of the information into Pirate Ship, and then print all our shipping labels in Pirate Ship, import the tracking information back into IndieCommerce, and send those emails out to the customers with that information. Yeah, so it's really powerful. And I think that's all I have. Did you want to add anything?
I wanted to add just about the reason why we write, for school visits in particular, why we write the information on the bag is because if it gets stapled onto the bag, it's now out of my hands, and then that paper can get lost at some point for whatever particular reason, and then there's absolutely nothing there to reference whose bag that actually is. By writing it on there, and then I stick the invoice in the bag, there's two things there. It's on the bag on the outside, and then I know that it's actually inside there as well. And then I also used to, what you were talking about, like at the very beginning, every morning I get in at 6 o'clock. I start at 6. I print out all of my orders at that moment in time, regardless of tag. I just print out all my orders, collate, get them all in the right order, sort them by what I need them to actually be. And then I actually, if they all look good and there's nothing that I need to be worried about, I've checked to see if I can get the titles. Before I do anything else, I actually move them all into processing, because you can do it all at once. Mm-hmm. You just go down and there's a thing, you click on it, says, and then confirm multiple times to be able to make sure. And then it shows up as a little yellow dot, says here, just to then print out all your invoices, move everything over. You can actually move everything over and put in a messaging as well. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I did forget to mention that. When you're doing bulk order processing, one of the things that you can do is send a message to the customer. So as you're moving them into processing status, you can check, add, send confirmation or send notification, and you can do an admin note, and you can do a note to the customer. So if you want to let everybody know, just, all at once, we've got your order, we'll get back to you. Whatever your standard thing is, you can do that all at once instead of one at a time.
And that's why I print out first, because then I can actually physically see, just to make sure, because you can't really tell what is what. And then you do that. And frequently you will have ones that don't process properly for you, go into process. And that's because that had a fraudulent tag on it. And you have to clear it from being fraudulent before you can actually move it into the processing mode. For school visits, there are times I know where you're doing like a more dedicated message where you're actually saying you ordered this book and it's going to be signed to your child and all of that. When you're doing something Peter Brown or somebody really, really big, we just keep it very, very generic. Like, thank you for your school visit. We'll coordinate with the school and the author to have your book signed and distributed to your classroom. And that's it. And you send them out for all 80 books or however many it is, and it's done. It's completed.
Yeah, one thing that I think the kind of theme of everything that we've been talking about is ease of use, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
I find 2.0 very easy to lean on the platform as a process for a lot of things. And so I'm very appreciative of that, for sure.
Okay. So I'm going to get into just two things real quick. One of them is something I was discussing with Bren last night.
Yes.
And another one is, I had mentioned it previously, it's a development tracker. So this is kind of a prototype that Geeth has been putting together. We had a lot of inquiries from stores saying, where are you in development? Because pretty much we get so many tickets coming in saying, we had this additional feature, what's going on, how are things going? So this does not, I got to tell you, this represents a very small amount of the things that are coming through, but these are the things that we would be being worked on in probably within that month or two. This is a proposal that Geeth has put in place for how it would appear, and we would be making this public. So you could see if you had called in about something or there was a bug that you had notified us about exactly what is going on. Is this helpful is what I'm asking. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because a lot of people have said they want to get this kind of access to it. So we're trying to put something together to present it that way. So, and if you have any comments about, you seeing this thing and go, well, it's not giving me this or that, it's probably because it's further down the list. So right now our emphasis is trying to get everything done by the end of June. Not because the migrations are going to be completed at that time, and we're not. I don't mean like everything is pending. I mean, we're trying to get all the migrations completed, and then there'll be more emphasis on probably doing a lot of these other things. So end of June is we've got 35, 36 stores still on 1.0. We've got to get them moved over, and then after that's happened, there'll probably be a lot more work on other projects. So just to be clear. Now, the other thing that Bren and I had talked about yesterday, and I had mentioned it in a couple other presentations that we're doing, is this thing called Google Merchant Center. We're in the middle of a project with McLean and Aiken. Zach, are you here?
He's right back.
Oh, there you are. So when working with Zach, we've been doing this for a couple months. We have a couple developers who are working. They're actually system admin developers who actually do development as well, which means they do some coding on the side. Well, we've asked them to do a little bit of experimenting for us. So there's this thing called Merchant Center on Google. It allows you to take inventory that you have in your POS, you feed it to Google Merchant Center, and then we would also be supplying the images and the metadata for those books and the pricing and whatever you have on your site. And then Google takes it then and pushes it into locally available product in your area of your physical store. This is an incredibly powerful thing. If you're also on YouTube, you'd be able to take those products and tie them into your YouTube channel. And I think this also, Brendan and I talked about this last night, they have live YouTube things going on. So you could probably do some possibly live shopping, but I have to investigate that further. I know for a fact that if you have a YouTube channel and you're talking about a book review or something like that, and you're in Merchant Center, you can tie the two together. They will actually see the ability to click on the YouTube channel, go directly to your shopping cart, and check out with that product, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So this is something that we're experimenting with right now. We've been doing again with McLean and Aiken. They 25,000 products. Zach, is that right? So we pushed about 25,000 products up. The whole idea here is to be available and prioritized locally. So if a local search is done in your area, again, it's going to come up above all the other free listings that they have because they see you as a local merchant that has been vetted by them to have that 2 or 3 products that you say. They actually checked. They call McLean and Aiken and say, do you have these actually on your shelf right now? And then he had to come back and say, yes, we do. And at that point, they start giving you they say you're a vetted merchant. And then what we've seen over the past couple of months is that more and more product is becoming available. And then as it gets old, it starts to slip back down again. So we have to figure out what this frequency is that we have to keep the feeding going. So that's a project that we're working on. Again, we're in the middle of experimenting with this, making sure that it works and that we can scale it. This was a very difficult thing to do. I don't understand how Google could possibly think that an individual small merchant or independent store could do this on their own. Our guys were baffled. There's no documentation on this. This is really designed for large scale stores like Amazon, Target, those kind of guys to do. And we just kind of pushed our way through it. So it's working. We're making it happen, and we'll probably try pushing it out if we can make it really work smoothly.
Because we're not alone.
Good.
I just want to say over and over again, there are so many industries of indie organizations, indie shops, indie stores. They are in it alone. We are never alone. We have each other. We've had each other for years. Some of us are joining new people to the family all the time. And that's the whole point. As a trade organization, we have the ability to be able to do it together like this. Mm-hmm. But when these benefits come to us, we have to take the opportunity to use them, because if you don't use them, they don't get improved. We don't have a voice in how they actually get used. And so I just wanted to stress that. I mean, thank you, because I think it is really, really important. That is a huge deal. They have it in the UK now, where you can sell your books right from a live event. You're doing a live reel, and people can purchase right directly from that. I mean, those are game changers for some of our stores in terms of a lot of new income streams that you can have that you did not have before.
Yeah, this ties into events really, really well. I mean, if you have an event and you have a video of it, and then you want to have that product actually appear as well on that event on YouTube, this is the capability of doing that. And I was talking again to Bren last night about this. So I've noticed something really dramatic going on with events. I mean, like game changing. Since I think we had in 2024, we get data from Eventbrite because we have a relationship with them. I get to see just overall numbers across the entire ABA of everybody who's using Eventbrite, and it's aggregated. So we did in 2024, I think we had 450,000 tickets that were sold through Eventbrite. That number in 2025 jumped up to almost 1 million. That is incredible. And there's this thing called the loneliness epidemic that's going on now. And this is how people are responding to this. They want to be at events. They want to have a community center to go to. They want an independent bookstore. Yeah. You've got to keep that in mind. Events are like, they're the gold bullet here. It's silver bullet. It's incredible what's going on with it. And I don't think people quite understand the power of these events.
Well, we don't even use Eventbrite. We create tickets on IndieCommerce as non-shippable store merchandise. So there are a lot of us that are doing that aren't even
and
being
I
counted.
Can see those numbers too. They're up 33% on the platform alone. The number of events that take place. So this isn't just Eventbrite. This is like it's across everything.
Yeah.
I realized what the Eventbrite jump was also, by the way. It was the Dave Pilkey tour. So the Dave, it was the Dave Pilkey tour, because you had to use Eventbrite for the Dave Pilkey tour, which was massive. And there were so many tickets sold. I'm not saying it was all of it. No. Because I think it has, that's a huge, but that's probably at least a quarter or a sixth of it was. But that's great. I mean, that's saying everything, because Dave is supporting the indies. That was an indie tour, indie exclusive tour. So
but I still, the thing that got me going to look at the Eventbrite data was I first saw it on the IndieCommerce data. So I had searched through all the tickets, and then it was up 33%. I thought, okay, I better take a look at Eventbrite, and then it was like stunned at the growth. So it's pretty.
Do you have questions? We've got a mic.
Yes.
Nope.
Hi, TJ from RG Julia Booksellers. I was noticing when you were doing the book variation demonstration there, were you choosing signed book, but could you do that even if it wasn't a signed book and just put in your own title?
Yes,
there?
that last variation of signed book, you can make it something else. I just use that one because that's the one that has. So initially when I got on, I didn't have that. I didn't use that because if you just choose, okay, so if you choose signed book with their options that are built in, it limits much of the freedom that you actually have. So I requested the variations. The variations weren't on there initially. Not the variations, the preferences.
Yeah.
And when we got the preferences, that's what made the difference to allow us to be able to put in all of that extra information. So
Yeah, you can create variations, any variation. It doesn't have to be signed. It can be school visit. It can be local off. It can be whatever you want. So it's based off of an ISBN that's in the system, essentially, and it's a variation, whatever you want it to be.
Amazing.
So
But
you
you're
can
just
call it whatever you
checking
want.
that initial box up at the top, but then you can make it then you're putting in whatever variation
You get to
want.
choose. You can choose other and then name that variation whatever you want it to
I
be.
don't think I've seen that.
what had happened initially was that it was I'm not going to remember what was the other option, Phil, that you had not as a book. It wasn't as a book variation. It was another option. What was it?
Called bargain.
Yes.
Bargain.
Yeah. And so
Discount, I think. Yeah.
no, none of it. It was a different type of like you were creating. Like you would a basket, a product that's not a book that you could enter it in.
The non-shippable.
And so it had way too many
For
limitations that we couldn't use for. We needed that book information to still be on.
Yep.
But we didn't want it to just come up as a signed book. We wanted it to come up as what we wanted it to come up. So signed book is just the choice, but you fill in what all that information is. And I have, like I said, multiple variations. I also make copies in case something disappears. I still have it later on. I cut and paste constantly with from drafts of like the information that I've got saved.
Amazing. And I don't want to take up too much time. I'm sorry to do 2 questions. Is there a place, I think you guys mentioned like a group or like, I'm assuming that's right on the IndieCommerce website. Like, are there regular sessions and learning experiences?
We have openings that come up for the IndieCommerce Advisory Council, which is
Okay.
what Brennan was discussing before.
But we also have the user group.
Yeah, we
How
have
often
user
do we
groups as
meet?
well.
How often does the
Yes,
user
we
group
do.
meet? Once a month, I think.
Yeah, monthly.
And I'd find that on the website. The user group's open to anybody.
Yeah, you can also write to staff@bookweb.org and just say when is the next one occurring if you want to do that.
And what's great about the user groups is it's for us. So
Yeah, we're not in there.
they're not in there. So if and on purpose, and Geetha's very, very specific about that this is the user group is our space to talk about and say what we want. So they start it and they leave. And then there's a group of us that moderate, whichever we rotate, and we take notes and we pass those on. If there are things that we're complaining about or things that we want or whatever. So they get that feedback from us, but we get to talk about how we're using IndieCommerce, basically like this kind of thing. Talk about it. How do you use it? What are you doing? And share information and share how we're using IndieCommerce.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Hi. I have a question about when creating that page where you can have the schools order their school visit books through, which is amazing. We are still doing like paper forms and sending them to school. And I'm like, there has to be a better way. So what we do for the students through our store is we discount the books for them. Is there a way to discount that book without affecting it, within the regular inventory on the website, or would I just like create a coupon code for that school?
Well, you could also just enter it as the discounted price for that particular variation.
Okay.
So, just use a code. You could give me school visit D for discounted book,
Okay.
and then it would come through there.
But on the variation, you can set the price, right?
You can set the price.
Yeah.
You could just enter it as the price.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
You
but
can override the price in the variation if you want to.
But you could also, the importance of that code is that if you were tracking that specifically, and you might not do a discount for everybody, you might just do a discount for specific schools. We discount for a school if they're buying the books all together for an event and they're just buying them and they're doing the whole thing. We never discount for parents. So
We just must be nicer than you.
parents are purchasing the books. We do not discount. And I know a lot of stores do, and I will just tell you, your life will change if you stop discounting for
It's a
for
constant
parents.
conversation. Yes. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brian, when you had your website and you had your events, and I don't know what the platform was, whether it was a carousel, but the events were shaped like books.
Yes.
What was that?
So, you can go to when you click on events, it goes to a calendar. And so then you sort of see them on a calendar thing. But there is actually, if you go to the initial page, you can choose what is the call. It's not called homepage. It's called
Event carousel.
No. It's when you first go on to maybe it is homepage, where you can basically adapt the homepage. You can adapt your sliders. There's a row for sliders. There's a row for your carousels for your different book categories. There is a section there for events, and that's basically it. And that is, if you ever are creating an event, you can actually put all your images in there, but there's a section at the bottom where you can actually put another image and that is actually what that is. It's a specific dimension rectangle.
Yeah.
And we go into Canva. It's already built in Canva. And once we've made one, then we just resize and make the same exact thing for the larger, and just keep resizing for Facebook, keep resizing for Insta, so that we just have the same image repeated out. I like having a connected look between all of my events so that it grabs people's eyes in that way. And it's another way to hit them beyond the larger. Sometimes people won't scroll through the larger ones, so it's better to have that one on the bottom. And it is a carousel.
No way. Is that new? I mean,
It's there.
Well, the graphics are made in Canva, and then you just import that.
but
You
can-
upload that image.
I've always found the calendar. So
So the event carousel, it'll be on the homepage, and it's also on landing pages. You can have multiple.
Yeah.
So like on our homepage, we have an event carousel for our Denim Spring store and an event carousel for our Lafayette store. And then you could also do it on, you could filter it by like tags, I think. So you could, say if you have a children's page, you could have just children's events pop up.
The event carousel is relatively new. It was not there. I'm trying to count many. It's been maybe 6 months or so that the event carousel came out, that you could add it to your homepage or a landing page or whatever.
Yeah.
So that part is new.
That homepage is like, there's a section, each one you get to figure out what is on each little thing that you go down. But I think it is I can't see it here, but if it's on the second or third button, John, maybe you can get to it. Where you can actually get in to edit the sliders and all of that, whatever that's called, so people can see
The homepage design.
Homepage design.
homepage
Exactly.
design.
That is your most important page.
It really is. And when we first moved to 2.0, the order of things on the homepage was static. You didn't get to choose what went where and what was on there and what wasn't on there. And now you have almost complete control over the content of your homepage.
Where it sits, move it up.
Yeah, where you can click and drag the different sections. You can uncheck them so they don't appear on your homepage. You can make the world is your oyster. The homepage is your oyster.
And I have it pulled up on the screen so you can kind of see. And then I'll click edit so you can kind of. So we just have it done by event tag.
Yeah. So if you want to create an event carousel of just all your story times, if the story times have a tag, you can create an event carousel of just story times or of just non-book events or whatever you want, and then you can put them on your homepage. You can put them on landing pages.
So when you have those sliders too, some of us use them for events, some of us use it for other things. I like to actually use them for, right now we're in holiday craziness because we're multicultural in Los Angeles. And so we celebrate Holi, we celebrate Ramadan, Nowruz, Passover, Easter. There's so many different things that I will have one slider that just says celebrating the spring holidays. That will go to a landing page, and then I can have all my carousels that are right there for all of the different holidays represented. And that's really, really great. That's the thing, is that you can make, like I said, the landing pages or the things for landing pages. So you can put people wherever you actually want them to be able to go. They can browse through your book lists, but I like to focus them in a particular way. So.
Hi. On that same note, for specifically the sliders products list, is there a way to do you have expiration dates set for that, or do you have to manually go in when they're date specific?
Okay, can you set an expiration date on that? I don't know if I take them out manually usually. So very rarely does it come up afterwards. But I will say it is possible for people to sometimes find things if they're doing a search, because all the different options for the book will come up. And sometimes that will come up. And so you can turn it off. It doesn't mean you have to erase it. You just turn it off so it's not viewable.
And there are expiration dates like on product lists, but I don't think it removes it from the homepage. It just means that when someone like clicks on it, it's not available. I can't remember how that works exactly. Do you remember?
One thing that we do too, if you notice, we date it on our slider here, so that way we have a just kind of a visual cue so that we know if it's an event, we'll put the event date, and that way we can kind of it's easier for us to just tell, hey, we need to delete this.
Yeah. And if you are missing some of the things that you had already built into 1.0 and you're like, oh, I got to rebuild into 2.0. Actually, most of the images and the event information transferred over. What didn't transfer over were the book variations. So you have to recreate the book variations. But as I showed you, it's really quite simple. But a lot of the text that you used, when you're searching through that screen, as Lynn was talking about, you can search for so many things in orders. You can also search within the event pages, like the content, and search for past. I usually just put any, so everything comes up. But you might be locked in. You're like, why is this missing? It's not missing. It's just it was a past event. And quite a bit of the 1.0 stuff is still in there. It's just you just have to find it.
Unpublished.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Oh, one more.
Matthew from San Diego. Do you have some examples of some?
Can wait for the microphone.
Hi, Matthew.
Thank you.
Do you have any examples of some unique homepages or landing pages on IndieCommerce? I'm hearing about how customizable it is, but they often, they all look the same to me. So are there some examples of somebody who's taken that landing page and done something interesting with it?
So I don't think that I know what you're talking about. I mean, because we did have that ability with the old one where you could change the background color. You could do a lot of it. No. So, but you can create something unique in Canva and put it in as an image within the actual block of content, which is what we actually will usually do. Mm-hmm. So I use Canva a lot to be able to create that. But you don't have you can't choose different fonts or different text sizes. It is, and I will say,
but a lot of that is the way Geetha explained it. A lot of that is for the ADA compliance of the website. Yes. So a lot of the stuff that we used to be able to do on 1.0 was not ADA compliant, and so it was the websites were not accessible. Yeah. So,
and stores were being hit because of that. So it's really important that it not be. Yeah. But again, you can use it within the Canva images. And we had a question over here too, I think, on this. Yeah.
Any more questions?
Hey, thank you guys for doing this. This is really great. Just a couple of really quick things, hopefully. Otherwise, I'll trim it down. When you're mass tagging different orders, you were saying that you can go to that drop down at the bottom and it'll select all, and then you can tag them all as once. From my experience, I was only able to tag it one page at a time. I wasn't able to tag them all together that existed under that tag. So I don't know if you had a different experience or if you knew a way to work around that.
I have, but then also I think I go ahead. Did someone?
Scott's going to jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Scott's going to answer the question.
Yeah, great.
No, Scott, you have to hold on a sec.
Bulk processing is purposely limited to the page that you're looking at. So I think it's about 25. Like if you're looking at orders, it's 25 orders at a time.
Right.
Whatever. It's one page at a time.
Yeah. And the one thing I would say when you're doing that, especially if you've got an active event that's going on, is mark your number of that page at the bottom where you're actually at. So you know what the last number is that you did, because 5 orders could come in while you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to share a slightly different user experience with relation to that. I do often a lot of our web orders, Blue Willow Bookshop in Houston. If you filter by SKU, because you have a large number of orders for a certain book because of an event or a pre-order campaign, and it is multiple pages on your order page, I have found that if I hit select all and then go to page 2 and hit select all again, I've now grabbed all of those orders. What doesn't often happen, so I cannot speak to if there's been an update that now that capability is not there, but it could be, I don't know. Sorry, so I've had a different user experience.
Okay.
So I think we're time up at this point, but if you have questions, please feel free to come up and ask them. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Additional educational resources can always be found on the ABA site at www.bookweb.org. Happy reading!